Getting ready to head out to the MGM, just packing some clothes. Make sure to wear my I Choose Violence shirt at the poker tables just to let everybody know what's up. I'm not afraid to get involved in big pots. So the plan is to play through till Friday, and then just kind of go from there. We may end up going to parks. We might go down to Virginia Beach. I got some friends putting on some Halloween parties. We'll see. It depends on how we do. So we're on the road to the MGM. It's about 3 hours from here. So that'll put us in around 1 o'clock or so. PLO game doesn't usually start till 2. So if it's not running by the time we get there, we'll probably jump in a Hold'em game. So yeah, that's about it. I'll see you there. And we're still not in a game, unfortunately, but we are next up on the list. So I'll be heading back in there in a minute. Just kill time, did not play any Hold'em. I really don't like Hold'em, guys, even though I'm actually somewhat decent at it. But we were able to kill some time, talked over some hands with Jeff and with Human, who are two of the regs, the daytime regs. So they're both good players, and we could talk about the hand where we flopped top set on the 10-7-5 board. They were not fans exactly, I guess you could say, of how I played it. They would both raise the flop, but they thought they both thought it was actually a call. It was close, but it was a call in the river. And then David and Ted, the other two people I talked it over with, both thought it was close, but a fold in the river. So, I mean, it is what it is. So I'm going to get back in there. Hopefully they call my name here in the next few minutes, and we'll be able to get some PLO going. Hey guys, so quick update here. We've been playing for about an hour and a half. Kind of up, kind of down. We did double up pretty early on. We had King Jack 9-8 in the big blind, and it was raised, single raised to us. Many people called. We ended up calling. The flop came out 10-7-6 with the flush draw that we didn't have, so we checked. Undergun potted it. It folds back to us. We raise, under a gun goes all in, we call, and then it went brick. So we ended up holding. So that put us over a little over 600. And then we played a few small pots, won some, lost a few small pots. Then we go on a three-hand sort of downswing. We lose 3 hands in a row. So in the first hand, we have Queen Jack 10-8, 3 clubs and a spade. And 2 or 3 limpers in before us. We raise from middle-ish position to 25. Then I think it's the guy on the button is like an older gentleman who makes a 75. And then either the big blind or one of the under the gun players, I don't exactly remember how this action went, but either the big blind or one of the under the gun players makes it like 200, 225, somewhere around there. And he and the other guy, that the 3-better, they both have about 300 or so, and we have a little over 600. So folds back to us, Queen Jack 10-8. I mean, I don't fold these type of hands to this kind of action. So we could call and then invite the other guy in the call and then play for like $70 or $80 behind. I didn't really see the point in that. Maybe there is a point to that. So we just go all in, both of them call. Flop is like King, Jack, low card, so we flop middle pair and a open ender, and then the board bricks out. One guy ended up with aces. He ended up winning, the guy with aces. And then the guy, I don't know what the other guy had. Not aces, because The guy that won with aces just played his aces, didn't play any side cards. All right, so then in this next hand, this is the very next hand, we pick up king, king, queen, 4, double suited. All right, and just something that worth pointing out here is this game is playing a lot more like a nighttime game than a typical daytime game. So what I mean by that is there's a lot more action, a lot more 3-betting pre-flop, a lot more gambling going on. People are getting it in a lot lighter. So typically these daytime games play quite a bit tighter, and it's just a different, I don't want to say it's easier or it's harder, it's just a different type of game than a nighttime game. They're both very beatable. So 3 limpers to us, king, king, queen, 4, double suited. There's a caller from the blinds. He's an older guy, doesn't have a ton of money in front of him, maybe 150, or 200. He ends up calling. Then the player that lost with last hand to the aces, he 3-bets. So he was the 4-better last hand. He 3-bets this hand to 110 or so. And I have him covered, not by much, maybe by about $50 or $60. So it folds back to us, and we have double suited kings in a very aggressive game where people are getting in super light. So we ship. I don't really see much of a point of doing anything else. I'm not going to fold this hand the way this game is being played, and calling doesn't really make a whole lot of sense here. So we just get it in. The short stack calls it off, and the other guy calls as well. The flop was queen 9 low card, so we flop top pair. We have an overpair. Turn was an ace. River was a blank. The short stack announces aces up, and his hand is good, and we win the side pot for $90 or $100 or so. So now, literally, this is the next hand after that. We have about $100. Action goes early position, raise to 15. There's a caller in between. We have king, king, 5, 4, single suited with about $100. So we make it 50. Folds around to the original raiser who made it 15. He basically pots it. He 4-bets it. The guy in between folds. We call it off. So he turns over 2 of his cards. It's a jack 9 of hearts. Okay. And then the flop comes down queen 9, 8. So I'm already thinking that's not a good flop for us. Then he turns over another card, which is 10 of diamonds. So I see that he's flopping nuts. Good for him. The turn is a king, so we at least have equity. And then the river's an ace, so we don't get there. He actually ended up having queen, jack, 10, 9, double suited. Monster hand. Love to have a hand like that. So he ends up winning that pot, and we have to reload for 300. So we reload, and right now we're sitting on a stack of about 500. Not too much to report. We won some small pots. We are playing a little bit loosey-goosey for sure. The last hand that we won, we called from like the cutoff. I mean, it was just limped. This is not right. This is definitely not technically correct to do, but it was limped to us in the cutoff, like 3 or 4, maybe 5 limpers. We call with queen 10, 8, 6, suited to the queen, and then the button calls, and both blinds come along. So it's like 7 or 8 ways to the flop. Flop is 10, 6, 3 rainbow, so top 2 on a rainbow flop. Couple checks. One guy bets 35. Another guy calls the 35, comes to us. We're in for, actually we have about 400 or so at this point, and we just make it 130 to go. We do this with like strong hands, top 2 sets, and then like wraps. So like on 10, 6, 3, we would do this with like the 10, 9, 8, 7, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, all those hands that we can have, we fast play them, and then it just folds back to the original raiser. He folds, and the caller folds. So we're sitting on a stack of about 500 or so, a little over 500. We're in for 6, so we're gonna try and turn a profit. We'll see if it happens. guys, we're up here on the second floor of the MGM hotel, and we just finished up our session. So full disclosure, it did not go great, but we'll get into that in just a moment here. In the meantime, I met up with a friend of mine who was a distributor with Amway, and he kindly gave me some of these products here to test out. So about over the course of the next week, I will be going through these. So anyway, the hand plays out like this. An early position limper, and so it's six-handed, maybe five-handed. I think it's five-handed actually at this point. So there's an early position limper. Cutoff makes it 15 to go. We're in the small blind. We have maybe 400 or so to start the hand. We have ace, ace, queen, 7 suited to the spades and hearts. Great hand. We make it 50. Big blind calls under the original limper calls 50, and the original raiser calls 50. 200 in a pot. Flop comes king of diamonds, 10 of diamonds, 2 of diamonds. So flop's a flush, flush we don't have. We check, big blind checks, limper checks, and the raiser checks. So 4 ways to a turn. We see an offsuit queen. So we pair up the queen. We still have an overpair to the board. Still, we're pretty much done with the hand. We're not investing any money in the pot at this point. So we checks around again. So the river brings a 2. I believe it was a 2 of hearts. So it's king, 10, 2, queen, 2. We check. Big blind now, that's 75 into 200. Fold, fold, back to us. So I was thinking about it, and I tanked for maybe 30 seconds, which is it's a tank job for me. So at the end, I just determined that I was not winning any pots by having my hands hold up. I thought this was kind of close. Now we are being laid 70. We have to call 75 to win 275. We're getting almost 4 to 1. I don't know how often he's bluffing in these spots. I've been calling kind of light in a lot of these spots, and they've been correct maybe 8 or 9 times out of 10. So far more than they should be, because this is a really light call, I think. But in the end, I just decided that he can't really have a flush here. He can have boats. He can definitely have some boats, but it is possible he would have bet a set on an earlier street just to sort of see where he's at. So that leaves what bluffs does he have in his range, and really there's probably not a whole lot of hands that he's just bluffing now. But every time I think that, every time that I think there's not a lot of bluffs that he can have and I call, they're always bluffing. And this spot was no different. So I just throw in a black chip, and he says, "You're probably good, I have a 10." And so I'm like, yeah, I have aces. So I turn over the aces, and we end up taking down that pot. As far as the merits of the call, if the call has any merits to speak of, I would like to hear someone else's opinion on the matter. Again, it was more of a, I don't want to say frustration, because I don't feel like I don't really get frustrated. A $500 loss is not really, I don't really consider that a big loss at all. So it was just more of a matter of it. I think the spot is kind of close. With the price that we're being laid, I think it's close. I mean, we have a queen in our hand, so we are kind of blocking some, we're blocking queens, we're blocking queen deuce. It's just close. I don't think he ever really has flushes here. There's really not a reason to believe that he's bluffing, other than the fact that it got checked through twice and he thinks maybe he can take it down with the bluff. But I think it's close, but I would like to hear someone who actually is very knowledgeable, at least from a theory perspective, because in a vacuum, already a couple of my friends said it can't be a correct call in a vacuum. If you have something to go on in the moment, a live read, something of that sort, maybe it would tilt it more towards a call. I had nothing like that to go on. It was just a spot where I don't want to say it didn't make sense, because he definitely could play a full house that way. It was just I just thought it was close, and I just call in close spots. So let me know what you guys think as far as how bad the call. It definitely can't be like a super profitable call. So if the call is terrible, or if the call is just slightly losing, or if the call is maybe if the call is slightly winning. I don't know how that could possibly be, but maybe it is. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.
All right, that's it for us, guys. I'm gonna head back to the house, and I got to catch up on some shows. I'm behind on Mr. Robot. I'm behind on Shark Tank. I'm behind on Gold Rush. A lot of shows I got to catch up on. Always remember, guys, and this is a pro tip right here, no matter how much you lose during the day, as long as you have a membership card, you're still getting paid to play. It's called earning comps. Didn't cost me a dime.